tonight's guests. We have actor Rohan Campbell and writer, director, producer, star Osgood Perkins.
Full disclosure, Rohan and I have been standing back there in the hallway drinking beers for like a bit.
They're not kidding either.
And we kind of felt like the door was going to open and be like, there'd be like a hallway and like a thing, but no, it's just right.
We're right here.
We're here. Yo!
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Of course, whenever I have nowhere else to be.
Am I in the right seat?
Am I in the right seat? You should be in the right seat.
Okay.
Nobody ever wants to sit by me. It's going to be a complex.
I'll sit close.
Let's have a quick round of applause for Rohan Campbell and the
I also want to give a round of applause for Rohan Campbell's wig.
Here's an actor who's not allowed to use his eyes in his performance. Hard to do. You got to act with your nose in your mouth. Not everybody can do that.
That was a wig.
That was a wig.
Just making sure.
If I would have ground that out. Also, who's got the wig?
Ooh.
Is that coming my way?
I snuggle it.
Whenever I have people as accomplished as either of you, I actually love to go back to the beginning and ask, what was your first job in this business? You know, did you start as an actor? Were you doing commercials or first time on set? Were you an intern somewhere?
I did a Claritin Clear commercial. That was pretty dope.
Was this in Canada?
How was your skin? Was it good or bad?
It was not good.
Were you the before or the after?
No,
Claritin. I had acne, but it's for sinus.
Were you the before or the after? Were you stuffed up or were you clear?
I was the happy-go-lucky child who wanted a tree house, but my father was.
Is this the narrative of the story?
We can go make this again.
Wow. My first job was playing Norman Bates, right? In Psycho 2 when I was 8. And I don't know who's I was in Psycho 2 when I was 8, and I don't know whose idea that was. Trying to picture who pitched that. Because it wasn't my old man. My old man wasn't like, my kid should be in the movie. That wasn't a thing.
Did you audition?
They're like, should we choose this guy or the kid who's the son of the guy?
Just like him. Also, the other kid was Latino.
Sure, weird match.
Did you know then that you were interested in pursuing acting or filmmaking?
I was 8. I was thinking about Chewbacca. Like, what's under there? Yeah, like if you shave Chewbacca, what does that look like?
Looks good.
Questions I still ask to this day. Well, again, congratulations on a great movie. Thank you for the nightmares. I literally did have a nightmare last night. It's such a great time at the movies. And I think I speak for everyone when I just want to ask, are you okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's a little bit late in the game to ask that. I'm great. I feel great.
Well, you said this movie is not only very personal, but autobiographical.
Yeah, sure, why not? Like, I've had some crazy shit happen to me, and I have a brother, and I also am both brothers in the movie, so all the good qualities and all the bad qualities, those are all me. I don't know how to do anything if it's not autobiographical. You know, like, that's kind of the onus that's on me, I think, as the filmmaker, right, is to sort of say, this is my experience, this is something I think is true, this is something I've noticed, and then I'm going to put it through the meat grinder and send it back out. And I think that if the monkey is anything, it's that. It's all of Perkins' neuroses put into a meat grinder and sent back out to the theater.
It's also really funny. Did you think of it as a comedy first or horror, or did they come up in one bundle?
Well, when I was given the assignment, it's like Stephen King, okay, so it's automatically sort of horror. But then I was like, well, what does Stephen King mean to me? What is Stephen King's value for me? And for me, it was Creepshow. Like, I was a big creep. Who cares about Creepshow in this audience?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Ted Danson.
First time you saw Ted Danson, they didn't let you watch Cheers at your house?
No, I was very young.
So it's in a bar.
Creepshow created me at
But Creepshow was my kind of gateway into Stephen King. And when you think about Stephen King, and I've thought about this a lot lately, he's kind of the guy in horror culture who said horror is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I invite you to enjoy horror as an entertainment, as a piece of entertainment. Like, I don't think Edgar Allan Poe was thinking that.
I bet you he was funny though.
He was like, it's like I'm dying of consumption and everybody I loved has died and it's a bummer and like here's some horror poems. He wasn't thinking like you really love this, you really like this is for you guys. Can you imagine if Edgar Allan Poe ever like, hey guys? It's a pretty good Edgar Allan Poe joke, it's for free.
This is something I said to you before, which is that most of the people I know in the horror genre, filmmakers and actors, are the nicest people. And I don't know if it's because they get it all out on screen.
I think, yeah, we have a very clean system.
Yes.
We've kind of extracted everything, we've let it go, we've kind of processed it, we've had a good time with it. It's true, I think it's true. I get a lot of interviews like, how do you create the terrible tone on set? How do you create dread on set and make everybody feel bad? Like, what am I, Roman Polanski? I've managed one Roman Polanski joke and one Edgar Allan Poe joke.
They're on fire.
The Venn diagram, my interest too,
Right?
just hit. Well, Rohan, I should ask you, what is the set like when you know these horrible but very funny things are taking place on screen? What is it like off screen?
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk for the whole movie because I wasn't there, but I can talk to Dying by Bees, and it was a hell of a time. And I'm trying to look as normal as possible whilst pretending to swallow bees with no bees on set. And Oz was sat beside the car, sort of going, wider mouth, and then I hear him go. Okay, like make a noise. And I'm going, and you like it's deeper in your throat, and it's a hell of a time, man. You gotta, like you're trying to find humor in things and the silliness, and we get to the point. Oz would just, from across set, look at me and pretend to blow his bangs out of his face, and I would know.
It's a really good Banks performance.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those.
Well, you saw me acting with my eyes and thought,
I thought, no, more Banks.
no shot.
It's like the best Banks performance since Heather's.
Deep cut.
Deep cut.
Which Heather though?
Oh.
Isn't there only the one? Are there other Heathers besides?
That have incredible bangs. There's two, I would say, with bangs.
With
Shannon
bangs.
Doherty's Heather. Yeah.
Shannon Doherty, what a genius. God rest in peace. Shannon Doherty, genius. That's true, it's true.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I feel that fight.
I am curious because you began your career as an actor and you cast your movies so well, not just this one, but all of them, and you have such a way with actors. Do you feel there are things maybe you picked up from other directors that you want to do with actors, or you don't? Things that you don't want to do. You really know how to talk to them.
It's funny, my dad didn't talk about acting very much at all, but he had sort of one anecdote. He was making a movie called The Murder on the Orient Express. Sidney Lumet was the director, and there was a day when they were sort of doing a thing, and something fell, like a picture fell down during a take, like a picture fell down onto the ground. And my dad said to Sidney Lumet, he said, "Hey, do you think you want to get a shot of the picture falling onto the ground?" And Sidney Lumet said, "I don't tell you how to act, do I?" And I've always started taking that to heart and being like, yeah, right, like what am I gonna do? Tell him how to act? Like, do it
Wider.
better? More like this? Like, I don't know how to do that. It's different, I think, when you're a writer as well, because you can write the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can sort of, and I have this weird habit, which is not common, I guess, where I write characters' thoughts. And someone brought it up in a different Q&A about Stephen King. In the short story of the monkey speaks in these italicized sentences. But it's not really speaking, like nobody hears it, it's just for the reader. But it's these italicized kind of little invocations of like what the monkey might be saying. And it's funny because I do that in screenplays, and I think I might have stolen it by accident from Stephen King. It wasn't on purpose.
We call that an homage.
We call that, we do it in reverence of.
Yes.
And it's a cool thing to do. So for all you screenwriters out there, I'm sure there's none in the audience. Keep trying, guys. It really sucks. It's a bad deal to screenwrite.
Really? You don't like screenwriting?
It's awful. Are you kidding? There's the thing of like writers hate writing, but they love having written. It's like sometimes you're like, I'm so tired, I don't even want to take a shower. And then you get out of the shower, you're like, I'm really glad I did that. That feels really good. It's sort of the same as writing a script.
No, it can be drudgery, and especially if you're sitting there trying to come up with creative ways to kill people.
You're trying to come up with anything, man. You're like in front of the blank page and the cursor blinking. That's kind of like daring you, like, do it. What do you got, man? You kind of, it's such a lonely thing, right? We all know, like, the writing process is a suck. And you got to kind of make friends with the thing. And for me, it's about, there's like the difference between sitting in front of the work, holding on really tight. It's like watering your lawn. And if you're watering your lawn with a hose, you're like, it's not gonna grow. The water's not gonna come out of the hose. It's gonna be bolted and it's not gonna water. But if you can sit in front of your work and have an attitude of like, let's see what happens, then it sort of works.
Then you get to come to set and be collaborative. You also produced the movie in it. Probably did the craft services.
Should.
Taking
I ate cookies in my spare time.
all of that spare time.
There's no peyote in these, I promise.
Rohan, what was sort of your relationship with Stephen King's material coming into this movie?
I'm a fan, like everybody else. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like a bit of a generational gap, I guess, to like the origins of him. But yeah, you read books, big fan. Love the movies. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan.
Well, he's like 13 years old,
It's
so
true.
he doesn't know that. He doesn't read very much.
I read text messages from Osgood.
There are so many great Stephen King Easter eggs in this. I picked up on at least two. One is the teacher is Mrs. Torrance, although they say Torrance. And then Annie Wilkes is the babysitter. But if Annie Wilkes dies, does misery never happen?
Ooh, weird. Yeah, no, I was just trying to be cheeky and do some Easter eggs about Stephen King's thing. It's funny because at the end when they're driving through the kind of apocalyptic wasteland after everybody's died, and they're driving through smoke, I've heard a lot of people like, it's the mist.
Oh!
And I'm like,
Totally. Built that. No, it was an accident. It was the whole thing was meant to feel like something that Stephen King would dig. And it's funny how much of it unconsciously became part of the fabric of the thing. Like, after we shot the movie, after we made the movie, I went back and I read Stephen King's On Writing, which is his sort of seminal kind of memoir about his life in writing. And there were so many things in it that I ripped off, that I forgot that I ripped off. And one of them was he loves the Ramones. Like, yeah, he loves the Ramones, and they also did a song, Pet Sematary, right? The Pet Sematary song is the Ramones. And for all you kids out there who don't know the Ramones, go to Spotify and see what that is. It's pretty great stuff. And anyway, Thrasher here, Ricky, has a wig a la the Ramones, and his mom has the same hair.
And did you know who the Ramones were when you...
yeah, I love the Ramones. My dad's a drummer. Yeah. He played with Lemmy, Motorhead, and like he was in it. So I grew up on a lot of that. Ramones were dope. Everyone go listen to some Ramones.
Yeah, go listen to some Ramones when you
do it for Rick.
Are there any other Easter eggs we might have missed that you would really like for people to know about?
No.
Really?
No.
I wanted to find out on Reddit, so you should
We
tell us.
put some graffiti from Shawshank Redemption was on one of the walls. Kind of somebody was here.
Brooks.
Brooks was here, exactly, which is when they write in the jail cell. But we cut it out.
Oh. I was actually wondering if, because this is I assume a very tight script that you spent a lot of time on, but was there room for improvisation? Like I always go to the swimmer exploding scene when Theo just says like, was that a leg? Like that feels like something very in the moment.
It's funny. Everything is written, and the inspiration for that fact comes from the Coen brothers. who ain't the best, when you read the screenplay for The Big Lebowski, and you read it and you're like, oh, every and fucking and dude and all that is all in the text, right? So you're presenting this thing to actors, you're like, this is the text. And if you're confident and you feel good about your words and the way you're laying it out, and you combine that with an actor's awareness and presence, like it happened with Nicolas Cage on Long Legs, where it was like, the first time I called him on the phone, we spoke on the phone, I was like, dude, throw it away. You're Nicolas Cage. Please don't, for God's sake, say the lines that I wrote. Improvise and do your thing and be Nicolas Cage and toss it out and be original and riff and be Nicolas Cage, please. He said, no, man, I'm going to do everything that you do. That's why I'm doing this picture, Perkins. And it's like, oh, shit, okay, that's even better. And the same thing happened on Gretel and Hansel. Alice Creed, who played the witch, came up to me kind of on day 2, and she put her hand on my shoulders. She's really like significant English actress. She's like, don't let me fall in love with the language. I was like, shit! Fuck! But when you have a handle on the rhythm of what it sounds like and what the thing is supposed to be, and you're able to give that to an actor, and it's able to be on the page, all of Theo's stuff was on the page.
Wow.
It's nice when it works that way, right? Like it's all on the page.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about improv and going off the page is if there's space for it, great, but to speak to your writing, you don't need the space, it's all there.
Isn't it just the best?
It's the best. I'm never working again until
I come back around with something.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, fine. Maybe there'll be a Claritin commercial.
Bring it back.
Claritin was? Clean and clear?
What's that?
What did you think Claritin was?
I thought it was like I don't know, acne.
Well, you're not getting the sponsorship now.
Perfect for it. Do you ever get creeped out on set, or does shooting a movie like this, make it all kind of funny, or I'm sorry, I saw that monkey popcorn bucket, and I don't want it anywhere near me. So I have to think that to some extent, is this weird stuff to be around?
The creepiest thing to be around is the actual monkey and looking in its eyes. It's really off-putting. It's the weirdest little feeling you get holding it. But a lot of my job was silliness and having fun, so I feel like maybe you left it to everybody else to be scared and have a hard time.
Where is that monkey now?
Taking meetings all over the town.
Did you see that meme page? It was like assistant something. It was like monkey signs with UTA. That was like that's the hardest I've laughed in a long time. That's since seeing this movie, of course.
That is amazing. What was the most fun death to film?
The one that felt the most kind of satisfying in general was the swimmer at the motel, the diver at the motel, because we had a really good plan for that, and we did it practically, right? We didn't explode an actor. She's presumably living her life happily. But we did plates, right? Like a series of plates, which you then marry together with VFX. So everything's practical, and then you pull out the stuff that looks not that good. So plate number 1 is you shoot the pool with nothing. Then you shoot the actor diving into the pool. You put a towel on her. You send her home. You stop paying her. She's gone. And the rest of it,
Living happily.
presumably. Cut neuroses or stuff. And then so she goes home, and you're all there freezing cold around this pool in Vancouver. And the next thing you do is you build a bridge, kind of like a gangplank, across the pool. And my special effects guy, Oli gets out there in a full It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia Green Man suit. And he gets out there kind of on his knees, and he's with him. He has a bucket of body parts.
Oh, yeah.
And he's action. Now he's throwing them at the camera, right? Kind of to get that effect. And there's a learning curve, because the first time he throws the leg, it doesn't work. Because he's never thrown a leg before. So it becomes like, I don't think it's an overhead throw of the leg, I think it's more like a golf swing. So he does the golf swing leg, and we get a good leg take. Send Oli home, get him warm, stop paying him. And out comes the guts cannon. And the Guts Cannon is what it sounds like. You fill it with blood and Taco Bell and stuff, and then you just do that a few times. And then you get the blood thing, and you kind of go into Siri, and you say, hey Siri, how much blood is in a human body? Siri says, it's
6 gallons.
6 gallons. And you're like, that's it? That sounds like not nearly enough for us. Make it 24 gallons. And so then your special effects guy runs to his truck and he's like, sir, we have 24 gallons. And that's the great thing about making movies, that everybody wants their department to rock. Everybody wants their department to win. It's that level of collaboration. Everybody wants to shine. So when you say I need 24 gallons of blood, you better believe they've got it.
But what's impressive is, I don't know if people in the budget. I think it's, only around $10 million, and it looks
Correct.
fantastic. Do you find that, sort of maybe having like limited monetary resources forces you to be more creative in other ways?
Absolutely. Limitations are great. I don't think anybody in the history of movies ever has been like, oh my God, I'm so glad my movie cost so much money. I feel so much better that we spent $180 million and we sold it to Amazon. I don't think that exists. I think that's like a bad vibe. So when you do it for less, you're forced to invent. And of course, everybody by now has probably heard me say, like, when it came to me, the project came to me, the producers were like, you can do anything you want, except it can't be the cymbals. The monkey can't play the cymbals. I said, why not? They said, well, Disney owns the cymbals. What? Disney? How can Disney own the cymbals? Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3. They own Darth Vader too. Like it's grim out there, guys. So they say Disney owns the symbols. You can't fuck with Disney. You can't make Bob Iger mad. He'll come after you. Come to your house. He knows where you live. Believe me. And it was like, oh shit, we can't use the cymbals, and everyone's going to expect the cymbals. And then it becomes, oh, it's the drumsticks. Oh, cool, because it's like a drum roll.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a rim shot. Oh, it can do the Tommy Lee drumstick thing in his hand. God bless him.
Actually, we take a couple of questions from the audience. If you have one, just raise your hand. Sorry. Oh, sure, right there.
First off, really great movie, really funny. This question is actually to both of you. Hypothetically speaking, if you had to, if a monkey was with you, would you be the one turning the key? Or would you be passing it off to someone else? And if so,
That's such a fucking deep one. I've never been asked.
Oh, yeah, I'll turn it. Let's ride, baby.
Not if I turn it first, baby.
This answer for me is so easy.
What is
You
your
turn it, save yourself.
Yeah, they're right.
So it's like when someone
That's a good point, right? How do you trust? Not that I of course trust, but if we're behind closed doors, do I trust?
If there's a chance you could die and not
It's like the question when people are like, if you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have? And it turns out it's like a Rorschach test for your personality. It's like, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? And people are like, oh, flight. You're like, oh, flight means you're cool and it's powerful and you're like, you're in yourself. Other people are like, invisibility is like, you're a fucking pervert. I just want to watch Zendaya and Tom Holland fuck. I'm at the Chateau Marmont, and there's Zendaya and Tom Holland.
I almost said invisibility.
Sorry.
I was like, invisibility, obviously. Oh, what?
Obviously, right? But it's like half the, like 3/4 of the room is like invisibility.
Perfect charisma.
Perfect.
So do you leave someone else to turn it, or are you selfish like me? I have things to live for.
So I got my kids to pretty well. You can get your kids. I don't know. Bad question.
Sure, right there in the middle.
how was the collaboration with James Wan and
Oh.
any future projects with
James
James Wan?
Wan.
James was really cool because he just sort of let me do my thing. James is a super cool guy. And James Wan made a movie that I love. And raise your hand if you love Malignant.
Yeah!
It's funny, because you say to James Wan, I was at a party with him over the weekend, I was like, James, my favorite movie of yours is Malignant. He's like, oh! Because I think when you're a filmmaker like that, you make a kind of a chancy, risky, weird, funny, offbeat movie, which Malignant really is all of those things. And I think someone recognizes it. It's really kind of gratifying. love.
I would have lived in for Halloween and nobody knew what I was.
Really? Because you never turned around.
Can't do that. Disney owns that.
Yeah.
Knock that shit off.
The turnaround.
Yeah.
When you have someone like James Wan involved, though, is there anything you want to ask of him, or any advice you seek from him, because he knows everything about filmmaking and everything about horror?
No, because it's like you're doing your own thing, right? He's doing his own thing, and it's kind of like it's just a little bit like you're doing your thing, I'll do my thing. If I got a problem, I'll call you. But don't, it's not. There's no playbook. There's no kind of instruction manual. There's no like, well, if I want a jump scare, I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and I'll do that. And no one's better at it than James jump scares. He's really cornered that market. You'll notice I don't really try to do those. It's not really part of my repertoire.
I think we have time for one more. Sure, right there.
When you make the movie, obviously there's like clear inspirations of death and acceptance of it towards the end there, with the horse and everything. Did this movie help you at all get through maybe accepting death? And,
Did this movie help you accept death and grief and generational trauma?
Good question. Here's my answer to that. Imagine me going to work every day like unresolved about death, just like a mess. Oh, I hope this movie fixes me. And action. It didn't work. Fuck, I'm still fucked up. Or you resolve your thing, you kind of heal your thing, you get to a certain place with it, and then you do the work, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe some people go to their art being like, I'm an open, gaping wound, and now I'm going to paint a picture that's going to make me feel better. Maybe. For me, it was sort of different. For me, the healing came first, and then I was able to process it as a comedy. Because if I made this movie when I was 30, it would be a fucking dragon. None of you would be here. We wouldn't be at the Grove. Are we at the Grove? Cool, because I was just at Century City, so I don't know where I am.
You're at the Grove, which you remember when it became the Grove.
I'm old enough to be one of the first people who didn't get killed by the tram when they were stoned. My buddy kind of pulled me off of the tracks. We're kind of like, wow, this is cool. This is the Grove. It's like, there's a tram here. There's a trolley. Fuck. Yeah.
Have you done Death by Trolley yet? I don't think you have.
No, neither has the Grove.
We know. Well,
Okay, sorry. Be careful out there, folks.
if I'm going to ask everyone to stay seated so they can get out of here, and please, not that you really need to, but spread the word about this movie. Tell people to see it in the theater. It's so much fun to see with an audience. Thank you for being a great audience. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks very much. Thanks, everybody.